this is gonna be just a quick little trip down memory lane of what I did in Scotland, why I went to Scotland, and what even is Scotland? What the heck is Scotland? I had never been to Scotland before this year. This is 2024. And I will say that Scotland is really nice. I don't know what other people have been saying about Scotland, but I definitely recommend it. It's super, super nice. The reason why I went to Scotland was to touch grass, because here in Paris, it's kind of like a concrete jungle. I mean, you can get parks, but there are also just people, lots and lots of people here. And Scotland, it felt kind of, I don't know, not like a Viking, but like it was just you, weather, and nature, you know? I guess weather is nature, but like, you get the point. You're just out there touching grass and just being like one with yourself. I don't know, it was meditative, I guess. But I went to Scotland. Scotland, by the way, is the top half of the UK. There are a lot of movies that have Scotland as their setting. Like, the one that I can think of off the top of my head is Game of Thrones. I know there are others as well. Essentially, one of my friends, Katie, she had just finished up her job in the north of France. And we were thinking, hey, why don't we congratulate and go on a trip to Scotland, because we had never been to Scotland before. And the original idea was how like we were going to rent a car and then drive ourselves. And in Scotland, you drive on the left, so it's like, it's all spooky or whatever. But we scratched that idea, and then we went with a tour guide. So essentially, we started in Edinburgh, one night in Edinburgh, and then we went on a tour guide through the company called Rabbies. Although it looks like rabies, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Rabbies, yeah. And they drove us around all of the nice parts, or more like maybe interesting scenic parts, historical parts of Scotland, specifically the north. So we went only to the Isle of Skye, because Scotland's actually quite a big country. So Scotland's huge. We were taking over. We were watching the taking over. We were traveling in the Isle of Skye, which is maybe 1/3 of Scotland, and it still felt like quite a while. But we started in Edinburgh, so we went from Edinburgh all the way to the Isle of Skye, to a tiny town in the Isle of Skye, and from there we would take it as a hub, and we would travel to other interesting parts of the Isle of Skye. So it was 3 days, 2 nights. And it was wonderful. And I have these photos, and I have these videos. Okay, Scotland is such a beautiful and magical place. It's filled with nature. It's got, who knows what kind of weather it has. It changes hourly. It can be misty, it can be rainy, it can be drizzling, just a bunch of different ways to say rainy. But it can be quite beautiful as well. And in these photos that I've taken, you can see that there's like a nice fogs. You can see that there are clear blue skies. You can see that there are lots of, the clouds, big cloud guide. You can see all the clouds there. And it's just really good for going to a place. Let's see. Scotland is a really nice place to go to if you enjoy nature. And also the history. So we went with this tour guide place called Rabbies. And within the tour, because it takes a while to drive to these locations, Scotland's like a really big place. Within the tour guide would give us like cultural references, and they would give us information on what happened in like historically. And oh man, our tour guide Jim, Jim Devine, such a great tour guide. He was good at keeping us upbeat. And I mean, we're driving for maybe like hours, sometimes 2 hours or so. And he would stop and he would tell great stories. The accent, like the Scottish accent. When he talks, I want to listen and like learn and just almost kind of. He's just like a really nice guy. He's just a really nice guy. Great personality. We went on this trip, and it was a couple days in Edinburgh from the beginning at the end, but then the very middle part was the Isle of Skye. So what do I have to say about the Isle of Skye? I'm giving it a solid 10 out of 10. Like, the Isle of Skye was breathtaking. It was just so good. It was legitimately breathtaking. And I think of it now as one of like my favorite vacations that I've ever been to. Also, I have a little recording of what Katie has to say. I don't know what she says. I didn't listen to it beforehand, so I'm gonna insert that here.
My favorite thing from Scotland was probably the Highlands, because I didn't realize that the Highlands were so big. I was very surprised by the weather because it was June, so I thought that it was gonna be a little bit warmer, but I ended up buying a sweater from the distillery that we went to because I was so cold. And then I wore a sweater, 2 sweaters, and a jacket.